the lower back. If anybody else thinks of anything that they might want to include, you could just put it in the chat, I'll see it. And otherwise, take your space, bring yourself into your space for the next 60 minutes. Notice what you're bringing into that space this morning. You're taking a deep breath in. Perhaps you've been busy already. Taking your breath in through your nose and exhale with a sound. Notice if you are in contact with the ground and then sinking into the ground, or whether there's a feeling of lifting away from the ground. No judgment about either of those. It might be that you're holding on to some kind of tension if you are lifting away from the ground. So on the next exhale, feel a heaviness, feel a letting go. We can be completely mindfully in this moment, and I think we all know how much energy that gives us, how much stability that gives us, how we use this out in our lives just to bring ourselves back. And then we can act without reacting to everything and costing ourselves energy. We can act accordingly to what we need to deal with. Begin to explore your breath. Invite your breath to become a little bit deeper. Notice the areas that might be resisting. And allow yourself to become fully absorbed as the breath flows in and as the breath flows out. Like that's all there is. Focus point. And there might be something that's keeping you away from your breath. Maybe a thought or a concern or a decision you've got to make. Notice it if it's there, and then come back to the next breath. Three more cycles of breath. And then allowing a more regular breath to take over. A less effortful, willful breath. Okay, and then slowly opening your eyes. And noticing if you're feeling a little bit more connected to what's actually here, maybe physically, maybe almost like there's a centering effect. It's brought you back to just here, to just you. So let's start by coming and laying on our back. If you've got a tie or a scarf, you just take that with you. And come lie on your back and hug your knees into your chest. Head on the ground. Notice your contact with the floor and just roll from one side to the other. Notice as your body gets a bit of a massage, if there is a connection with your breath, if you want to, or if there's an involuntary exhale maybe. And then if there isn't, just encouraging one more breath in and breath out as you roll across, getting in contact with the muscles of your back and maybe your shoulder blades, maybe the back of your neck. And then just let that rocking come to a halt and keep hold of your right knee, stretch your left leg out on the ground, and then let's just bring this right knee in towards us, the uttkatasana, the wind relieving pose. So used a lot for our digestive system, but imagine it's opening our hips, so we just squeeze that upper leg towards us, towards our body or our belly. And then as you inhale, releasing, and as you exhale, squeeze towards you. Notice where you feel that. Where deep in your muscles do you feel, excuse me, that stretch? And allow your breath to guide the stretch. Perhaps it just goes a little deeper as you're staying with it. And then release ever so slightly. Make some circles with the toes of your right foot. So you're moving through your ankle. Hearing the bones of your ankle maybe. Noticing where you also feel that movement in your leg. Perhaps you feel the muscles of your outer shin stretching. And then change the direction. If your hands are on your leg, you perhaps do feel the muscles higher up towards your knee. Just responding to that movement, keeping everything mobile. And then keep your foot still. Take your knee slightly out to the side and then just squeeze it in, maybe with two hands, just squeezing that leg slightly out to the side, so opening your hip a little bit more. Okay, and then bring it back into the middle. Take your tie, if you have one, and bring your foot towards the sky. Remember, it's just a gentle hold on the tie. Scarf's fine. If you've got a scarf, just wind it up. And then let's stretch the back of the leg. So pressing your knee away from you and sole up towards the sky. And no matter what we've been doing, no matter how much yoga we've been doing, we can always open the back of the leg up here. Sometimes be surprised in its lack of flexibility, actually. Notice where that movement's coming from. You put your one hand on your belly, you can feel that that movement's actually coming all the way from your deep core muscles. Probably engaging your psoas muscle as well as you're there. So we're just stretching it out at the back. The tie is helping us to take a bit of the heaviness away, actually. And then holding that leg still, pressing your heel all the way up towards the sky. Arms and tie are straight. And then we can help it and support that leg to stretch. And then let your toes come towards the top of your head or the top of your mat. So there's even more stretch here. It can go a little bit deeper into the layers here through the buttocks. And we take 2 full deep breaths into this stretch. Okay, and then bring your left hand onto your belly, and I'm hoping you've got the space. Take the tie into your right hand and let your foot come out to the side, towards the floor. If it's hanging from the floor, bring it further down towards your other leg. So somewhere it is opened outwards and it can come down towards the ground. So that your left hip's facing forward and your right hip's opened out slightly. And then inhale, as you exhale, lift that with the help of the tie. Lift that leg up, bring it back up to the center. And then let's bring your hands behind your thigh. So let the tie go. Let your leg bend. And then just raise your forehead up towards your knee. So we're doing it just with one knee and your hands are behind your knee. So your back's rounded. And you breathe into that. Okay, release your hands, bring that foot down to the ground, and then bend both knees and just let your hips just rock across the ground. Feel the back of your hips there on the ground. Taking hold of your left knee, stretching out your right leg. And first of all, let's just move the ankle, turn the toes, feel the muscles through the lower leg, making the ankle move or being there as the ankle moves. And then change direction. Okay, taking your tie, your scarf, put your hands around the back of your thigh, stretching your leg up and just stretching it out. So bend and stretch. We've all done this before. However, every time we do this, it's different. We might be able to learn something new about our leg, how it's feeling this morning, connect it with the rest of us. So if you imagine the back of the knee is the part that's opening out towards the room in front of you, that's getting the most stretch. Okay, then see if you can keep that leg straight, pressing your heel up towards the sky. Just imagine the tip of my fingers encouraging your heel to lift up towards the sky, and then the toes towards the top of the head. And there you might be encouraged to take a deeper breath. Okay, bring your legs somewhere into neutral, and then if you've got the space, or maybe you need to shuffle a bit, open your leg out towards the side. The right leg can be flat on the ground or bent if that supports you better. So wherever that leg comes down, if it doesn't come down to the floor when it's out at a right angle, then just let it come a little bit closer to your other leg. And feel that hip opening outwards. Well, if you put your hand on your right hip bone, you'll feel it there, and your left hip bone's just kind of disappeared as it's turned outwards. Opening out the hip to the side a little bit. Great. Inhale, and as you exhale, bend that knee towards you. Let go of your tie. Bring the hands behind, back of your knee. And then just roll up with your head, forehead towards the knee. So you imagine your back is curling. And then bring your head back to the floor. Stretch your leg out in front of you and just notice if your heels want to turn out slightly. Sorry, if your toes want to turn out slightly. Wriggle your hips, whatever you need to do. And then bend both your knees. Hug your knees into your chest. Forehead towards your knees. And then roll yourself onto the side. We're going to come up to standing. So if you come up through the table, so onto all fours, kind of a mindful way to stand up, and then curl your toes under, coming up to standing. Okay, so take a step to the side, a biggish step to the side. Bend your knees. Bring your hands onto the inside of your thighs, just there, and let the weight come back onto your seat bone, so kind of like you're sitting down, horse rider's stance. Okay, and then we're going to dip with the right elbow towards the left knee, so across the front. We're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we're sweeping across. So one elbow is bent, one elbow is straight. So there's crossing over the front of the body. Both knees stay bent. We're inhaling and we're exhaling. Doesn't matter where we do that, as long as we do that. And as you're over at the side, just notice that you're stretching away through that opposite hand. Imagine you're leading this movement with your heart. So your heart's kind of guiding that circle. Big, deep inhale and exhale. Keep your feet in contact with the ground, nice and grounded. Good. And then the next time that you're into the center, okay. So we're bringing the right arm behind us, palm facing outwards, and the left hand in the center of our heart, perpendicular. Okay. So bend your knees, come into a squat, and then let's move. Doesn't matter where we start. Inhale and exhale. So it's a practice of synchronizing our breath with our movement. Twisting from the waist. So we've kind of got our body squashed between our two hands. Okay, and the next time we're at the front, we're going to take this front hand, we're going to take that up and just stretch it onto our spine, maybe reaching towards our fingers. Maybe you can't quite get towards your fingers, but feeling the stretch there, and then seeing if you can just twist the upper body without twisting your knees. Just notice your knees are staying forward. Big, deep inhale and exhale. At the same time, we're stretching our channels of our arms. Okay, and the next time you're at the front, just bringing that arm down slowly. Giving quite a stretch, and bringing the right arm down slowly. And first gently shaking your arms, and then a bit more vigorously away from your shoulders. Okay, so just thinking about a squat where we're going to do some breathing. So we're going to come into the standing squat. I'll guide you into that. And the breath we're going to do, we're going to inhale in through our nose, and then we're going to open our mouth and round it. Crow breaths. So we're going to do it in a long inhale and a long exhale. Maybe there's a whistle there as well. So first of all, finding your standing Tadasana. The outsides of your feet parallel. And finding the length through your spine. The knees are not locked. Crown of your head lifting up towards the sky. Bring your arms out in front of your hands, face each other. Uttkatasana. And then we're going to sit down like you're sitting in a chair, knees still going forwards, same direction as your toes. And then we're going to bring that breath in. So we're going to inhale and then round the mouth to exhale. Inhale You can relax your mouth in between the breaths to inhale. And allow that breath to help you to hold in the posture, just help to focus. You're perhaps not thinking about your arms or your legs getting tired. And maybe the breaths get even longer. Inhale. And exhale. And we do 4 more maybe. Okay, and the last one. And then let your breath come back to a regular breath. Release your arms down. And straighten your legs. Just close your eyes for a moment and allow yourself to feel breath, maybe the tiredness of your arms. Okay, so I want to do a stretch that's helpful for your lower back, and we need something to stretch against. So I'll show a couple of things here. A windowsill would be great, or the back of a chair would be great. So I guess we've all got something like that. Back of a chair or a windowsill, or the back of the sofa would work as well. Something that's about the level of your waist, actually, that's where you want it. So I'll show you on the windowsill. So just bring your fingers onto the windowsill to start with, or find your rest. Bookshelf would do as well. And then walk your feet away until your feet are square underneath your hips. And you might want to rest your whole hands onto the flat surface there. And at that point, let your head come down so that your eyes are looking downwards, but your crown of your head's in the same direction as your fingers. And then see if you can imagine that your back is coming to a flat place, especially between the shoulder blades. And with that, you could bend your knees slightly and just stretch away from the flat surface. So there's a stretch happening through your arms and through the muscles of your back. I've done this before, usually in the room, so I think you know what we're doing. And then what you might want to do is just inhale and bend your elbows a little bit, bend your knees a little bit. And as you exhale, just see if you want to explore and go a little bit deeper into that place. Perhaps just moving your head so that you know your neck's not at an angle. And if you're focusing on your lower back, just feel the stretch there, maybe wriggle your hips a bit and then stretch your lower back away from you. But to come out, so we press against the flat surface, bend our knees and then just walk ourselves back towards our hands. Okay, at that point we can probably feel just how much we've stretched there. So maybe you want to just take a moment, stand still, let your eyes close. Perhaps it's generated some warmth. Right, good. Okay, another balance. We're going to do a balance. And what I want to encourage is that you're standing against a wall or a chair or against the windowsill, just so there's something behind your back to support you in case you wobble. All right, so finding again your Tadasana and then lifting up your right knee. Just taking your hands underneath your right knee again. Inhale, and as you exhale, can you lift that knee up a bit closer towards your chest? and breathe into it. So breathe into the balance, deep inhale and exhale. And then is it possible to take maybe one hand down and just open that knee out to the side? The standing knee can bend a little bit. If you're very wobbly, then just let yourself come back into the center or find your alternative. And just opening the hips, good. And then bring your knee back into the center and let your foot come back down to the ground. Okay, just feel maybe the difference between the right side and the left side. Okay, and then balancing on the opposite leg, lifting up the knee, bringing your hands underneath your knee to start with, so you can really lift that high, and you can see just if you've got something to lean against, you've got some solidity there. You could just fall against the wall if you were overbalancing. And then squeeze it up as high as you can. And then releasing one hand, and if possible, we can open that hip outwards. And then bring your knee back into the center, bring your foot down towards the ground. Just close your eyes for a moment, feel how much your hips have been working. Okay, then we're coming back down to the ground. So bring your chin onto your chest, roll yourself onto the floor, and come into the child pose. Unless you've got your alternative for the child pose, but in the child pose we're going to curl up and just feel the release through our back, the posture of surrender, so letting go. Forehead comes to the ground or underneath, put a cushion underneath, make yourself really comfortable. And we're just going to stay there for a few breaths. I'm just going to try to put it through the window. And bringing your hands underneath your shoulders. Coming onto your hands and knees. And let's move from here. So we're thinking about lower back into the downward dog. So curling your toes under. Inhale, and as you exhale, lifting your knees up, pressing your hips up towards the sky, away from your hands. Maybe walking your heels towards the ground. Moving into any place that needs a little bit more attention. Perhaps it's your wrists, perhaps it's your lower back, perhaps it's your neck muscles. Just focusing on where you can use this posture to open up or bring balance or make contact. Maybe just releasing your head, letting your head be and your neck be loose so that you're not keeping your head at an angle. And as you exhale, bringing your knees back to the ground, pressing your hips back to your heels or a short alternative, this time bringing your arms out in front of you. Inhale, and as you exhale, walking your hands back to the knees. So come to sitting, and if you've got something like a soft cushion, we've probably all got those somewhere around us at home, more than in the studio. So we're creating here a similar angle to what we just did with the downward dog. So like this is a bit like the seated version of that stretch. You can see here, lower back. So we've done a lot of work opening up our legs and opening up our thighs. So we're just going to put that into a forward bend with a little bit of an extra support, if you like. So feet are flexed, feet are hip width apart, and the cushion is just in front of us like a tray, really. And then inhale yourself nice and tall. As you exhale, just bringing yourself forward, and then bringing your hands towards your legs. You could take hold of your legs. If you want to feel the pressure of the cushion a bit more, you could just fold it double, and then just bringing your upper body towards your legs with your hands holding your shins, looking beyond your toes to start with. Inhale and lift, and exhale and roll forward. And just continue to do that. So each time you inhale and lengthen, so stretching all the way from your lower back. And exhale and belly towards your legs. And as you're there in that posture, have a feeling that your heels are extending away from you. You might just bring a little bit more dynamic into the back of your legs if you just focus on that point. And then we're going to come out really slowly. So just unfolding your back upwards. Okay, putting the cushion to the side. And bending your knees, bringing your hands just behind your back, and just rocking your hips from side to side. Feet are wider than your hips, and then we're going to just let the knees drop over to the right side. We're going to inhale up and let the knees drop over to the left side. And you can see how if your knees come to the ground, that pushes this hip away from your ground. It pushes the top hip away from the ground. The next time that hip's away from the ground, lift up your arm and stretch as well your arm around to the side. Feel where that stretches through your waist, maybe through your belly, maybe through those muscles of your abdomen. And then we're going to inhale, bring it back to the ground. Knees are wide, feet are wide. And then we're going to swing that arm and come into a stretch. So as far as you can reach behind you. Now back to center. And just moving through that a few times. You can feel that we're as well rolling across the bony bits here and the padded bits here of our buttocks, of our muscles, all those crisscrossy deep muscles through there, stimulating some blood flow and nerves. Okay, so the next time that you're in the center, we're going to bring this into a twist. So let's all go the same way. So drop your knees over to the right side, and then bend both of your knees so that you can lean forward, so that then your body weight can come up, and the back leg's usually flexed. So bring your hands in between, or at the front of your front ankle, let's say, lifting up your your back. And then we're going to walk the hands out to either side of this bent knee. Still lifting, still lengthening the back. And then we're going to carry on walking around here. So we're already in a twist. We're already a twist more through the front of the body actually than the spine at the moment. That could be your twist for today. So keep lengthening and maybe looking over your right shoulder, bringing in your shoulders. If you want to go to the next stage, you could walk your hands away from you and bring your forearms onto the ground. And actually you could also make it a bit higher. You could put a cushion there so that you might reach the ground, and so your forearms are on the ground. And feel the stretch happening through your thigh and your lower back. And it might be that that feels comfortable, you feel open enough to do that. It might be that you make a pillow from your hands and you just rest your forehead onto your hands. So in that position, or in any of those end positions, you can let go of any tightness. So maybe this back leg starts to contract. See if you can just shake it out and let it relax, so that you're here, you're engaged in it, but you're not holding tension. And then see if you can just let go. Feel your breath. Feel a heaviness as all your muscles sink towards the ground. And then we're going to lift up again. So wherever your forearms are, or your hands, walk your hands back towards your body. Start to walk your hands around to the front. Rearrange your legs so that you can sit up. And then just put your hands behind you and lift your knees up away from the floor. So I'll do it like this time, slightly. So we're going to drop our knees over to the left side. And remember to rearrange that back foot so that it's comfortable. And prop anything that's feeling uncomfortable. If you want to prop a cushion anywhere, you might have cushions to do that. So first of all, bringing the hands to the front of the front leg, and then walking your hands out to either side of your bent knee. That might be your twist for today. I'm just a bit adjusting to kind of get everything comfortable. And then if it feels good, continue to walk around. The twist starts to happen through your belly and through your thigh. And if that's where you want to go to, coming down onto your forearms or onto your hands. At that stage, it might be that you rearrange your back leg so that the toes don't get cramp and feel more comfortable. Notice your breath. Notice if it's still possible to take long breaths, or if your breath's running a bit more shallow because of the position that you're in. One more full deep breath. Lifting onto your forearms, onto your hands, using your hands to press you back up to upright, and then walking your hands back in front of you. Okay, and then you maybe want to lean back so you've got space to maneuver your legs, and just bring your legs back to the front. Give them a shake. Okay, and then come up to sitting. Let's do some alternate nostril breathing. So find your comfortable position. And we'll do it without a ratio, so we'll just do the breathing in, the hold, and the breathing out. So after a few rounds, I'll let you just count your own breaths. Sometimes you can find your deeper and longer breath if you're doing it by yourself. So bring your focus onto your breath. And remember the index finger and the middle finger, they can reach up towards the third eye, or they can just be loose in between. So look, position your thumb close to your right nostril and take a breath in and out. And on the next inhale, inhale through the left side slowly. Close the left nostril, both nostrils closed. Open right, breathe out through right. Breathe in through right. Close both. Breathe out through left. Breathe in through left. Close both and hold. Maybe at this stage, when you do the hold, maybe at the same time you want to lift your pelvic floor. Open right, breathe out through right. Let go of the pelvic floor, hold. Breathe in through right. Hold, lift. Open right, breathe out through right. And continue on your own. If you want to bring your left hand into a mudra, just closing the thumb and the forefinger, just to close that energy circle, and just continue finding your own rhythm. Maybe you really want to slow the breaths down. Don't worry if you miss a beat or you don't feel that there is no right and wrong. What is there to notice? Can you see any difference between the right nostril and the left nostril? Perhaps more openness on one. Perhaps more warmth on one. And what we're doing here, we're trying to bring some more balance there. The yin and the yang. The yang usually warmer, the yin usually cooler. And just knowing that you're doing this without my guidance, so you know how it works, you can take it away and use it yourself at home when you need to, when you remember. Find that balance. Great if you can't sleep. Great if you've got something that's keeping you buzzing. You can even do it while you're out walking in the countryside. Do it whilst you're walking. You can try it. So one more round. Finishing off always through the left nostril, the cooler nostril. When you finish, just let your hands come down onto your lap and take a moment to notice. Perhaps there's a sound that you hear in your head. Your awareness much more internal, much more focused inside. So very slowly, we're going to move into Shavasana. If there's a posture that you want to do before that, then go ahead, now's your time. And maybe a couple of minutes just to do, listening to your body and do what your body needs this moment, whatever that might be. If you're ready to come into Shavasana, then go ahead and have an extra couple of minutes, making yourself warm and comfortable. Well, let's do some tension and release. So if you're still doing a posture, you can just join us when you're ready. So bring a squeeze into your right foot. We've been feeling those muscles of our lower legs, so we'll feel them again. Squeeze your toes as though your toes are drawing up towards your nose. And as you exhale, with a sound, let it go. Squeeze the knee, the foot, and the upper thigh of the right leg. Squeeze, it might come off the ground. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. It's an inhale, and as you exhale, let go. Squeeze your left foot. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze your lower leg. And release. Squeezing your left foot and your whole of your left leg, left thigh, squeezing it, maybe it lifts off the ground, and release. Making a fist out of your right hand, squeeze, 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 squeeze your right arm, right whole of your right arm, muscles up to your shoulder, and as you exhale, let go. Feel the drop of your right arm. Feel the squeeze in your left fist, your left hand, squeeze it together. Squeeze the whole of your arm, maybe your arm lifts up. Big inhale, and as you exhale, let go. Squeeze both of your hands, both of your arms. Squeeze, 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 lift, and feel the release as you let go. Great. And then come to your face. Squeeze your eyes tight. Squeeze your nose and your mouth and your cheeks, maybe your hair and your ears all squeezing together into the center. As you exhale, let go. Feel a squeeze in your belly. How can you contract your belly in that position? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Maybe there's other muscles. Maybe you feel your pelvic floor. Squeeze, 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 and relax. And then we're going to take that all together. Squeeze your legs, your arms, your hands, fists. Squeeze your face and your belly. Squeeze it all up. Big exhale. And let go. Let's do that one more time. Squeeze everything. Squeeze it all up. And then this is your let go into relaxation. All the work's done. Feel that your body's maybe even a little bit heavier. The ground is supporting. Notice you might be ready to go into a place of deep relaxation. Just enjoying the next few minutes. If there's any thoughts popping in, any concerns popping in, just catch them, say hello to them, let them float on past, and enjoy the next few moments of deep relaxation. Noticing where you are in connection with your own breathing. Bringing some movement into your fingers, into your toes. And then stretching into anywhere that it feels good to stretch to. How does your body want to move? Really in tune with your body. And perhaps before you get up, you bend your knees, you roll over onto your side. And as you come back up to sitting, your awareness still internal. If you wanted to unmute yourself, go ahead. I can't unmute you anymore. I've lost that power. So if you wanted to unmute, and we'll finish with an om, so we can send that om out to wherever or whoever needs that this morning. I can hear some voices. Okay. So bring your hands together. We're going to inhale and we're going to exhale that om. Inhale. And bowing your head below your heart. Just gratitude to yourself for practicing this morning. As you lift up eyes and hands open. Namaste.
Namaste.